And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to a special edition of Giant Sports Talk Live. Got some breaking news. Just a short time ago, the Baseball Hall of Fame, the Contemporary Players Era Committee, man, that's a mouthful, selected one person to get into the Hall of Fame in the summer of 2026, and it's going to be Jeff Kent. How about that, guys? We got some special guests with us here today. Gary Mintz from the New York Giants Historical Preservation Society has joined us. He's a longtime Giants fan, over 50 years. We got, of course, Lou is back. What is up, Lou? Lou, we'll let you fill in and where you're at, what was going on with your absence. And then, of course, my buddy, my pal, Glenn. So we're going to sit here and talk about the election. Also, guys, we're going to have another special guest that's going to join us a little bit later in the program. Marty Lurie will be joining the program, and he will give us his take on the ballot of Jeff Kent getting elected. So, Glenn, what'd you think, man?
Well, you know what, Eric, I have a long time said this is long overdue because Jeffrey Kent, look at the numbers, Eric. Approaching 3,000 hits. He finished with 2,461. And in this day of age, Eric, we're talking about a guy getting in now, appropriately enough, into the Hall of Fame with a batting average career of 290. And there's those out there, Eric, who look at the numbers and go, great numbers. And they always say, you're never a Hall of Famer. You're never the guy on, the ballot. You never had a successful career unless you've won it all. He's a World Series champion to boot, Eric. This is long overdue, and I have long time been a proponent of him getting into the Hall of Fame. Today is a magical day, and it really kicks off the winter meetings for us in a big, big way.
Right on. Lou, it's been a little while. Fill
Lou.
us in. Let us know what's going on. Tell me what you think about Jeff Kent.
I think what was great about Jeff is he was his own person. And I thought what was very unique about him is you think offensive, not really much defense, but purely offense, where when you look at his stats, first of all, 1,500 RBIs. Imagine that, 1,500, okay? So knowing the Giants of nowadays, that's 75 RBIs for 20 years. We can't even get one guy to do 75 RBIs in 1 year, all right? Second of all, he was so unique. The other thing, and what I mean by himself, is there were so many confrontations with him and Bonds where he didn't let Bonds get to him. He was his own unique player. He showed up when it counted. And, we're very lucky, and hopefully he does go in as a Giant because he's played with numerous teams. I thought the Giants getting him was a gift. It shows you can get guys from other teams that are on their way up. And he was a stud. He was a stud on and off the field, and very happy for the Giants. I know, Eric, you're going to talk about it's been a while since we've had somebody actually go in the Hall of Fame, and well-deserved. I'll leave it at that. Well-deserved, because I know we'll go over all the stats and everything, but I thought he of the 12 guys, I would have maybe had him and someone else, like Dale Murphy, who I thought was really a face of the Atlanta Braves. But, hey, they only chose one. They chose the Giants. Giants are in the news for the right reason.
I said that to Eric on the show the other night. I brought up the same name. I said, look at an Atlanta Brave like Murphy. The two of them, blue-collar players. And they remind me of my pal, my good friend, Matt Stairs, Eric. They brought it to the field, man. They left it all out there. They got the job done. And as I mentioned, you get a guy who won a World Series. Even though he played a little bit with the Dodgers, that's okay in this realm of conversation. The guy was a winner, and I'm really happy for him. Eric, how do you feel?
Oh, man, it's awesome. Awesome. He's well-deserved. He should have got in even before the Contemporary Committee. Honestly, he should have. Because, look, he had anything over his head as far as PEDs. That's a big thing.
No scandals.
The guy went out there. But look, was he known for a glove? No, but, wow, that guy can hit. Marty Lurie, we talked about it on his show, right? The guy had better numbers than Rogers Hornsby. I mean, you're talking about some really good players who are Hall of Famers, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Real quick, little bit of housekeeping. Aaron had an emergency appendectomy. So again, I hope you're doing okay out there, Aaron. He's hanging out in the hospital, man. But
Aaron has lost the appendix.
He has lost the appendix. So, hey, buddy, I hope you're
Aaron
feeling better.
lost.
I know they got you up on some good drugs, but let's get to Gary.
The
Gary,
show's always better. The show's always better, Eric.
Gotta tell you, I am super stoked. This is long overdue. This is a great day for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
There's without a doubt he's going in as a Giant. He had 6 years with the Giants, 100 RBIs in each year. I've been watching the Giants forever. Other than Will Clark, this is the one guy offensively. When they needed a clutch hit, I wanted Jeff Kent in there. He was a no-nonsense player. I think his fielding is a little,
it was
wasn't
okay.
the greatest, but he never really cost them any games. Turned a good double play. This is long overdue. And with this, you guys are out there. Lou, you go to the games. Next year, you'll see his number retired. They're going to retire his number. He's a Hall of Famer.
Let's not forget.
He's going in as a Giant.
Going to have a statue as too, right, Gary? All the Hall of Famers get statues.
I don't know about that.
No? A little bit too much?
Definitely the number retired. It's going to sit right next to Will Clark's number now. And Monty,
hey, how about that?
Going to be nice.
Yeah.
Eric, we grew up watching him, though. We grew up watching him.
Yeah.
I honestly, and it's just my opinion, I think a lot of people are too critical about his defense. I mean, he got the job done. He was Eric. If you're going to build an infield, I mean, Jeff Kent was the guy you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a clutch guy, man. Come on. And look, and I was looking it up. This is the first Giant to get elected into the Hall of Fame since 1999. So, and that was Orlando Cepeda. Before that, I believe it was Juan Marichal, I believe. So it's been a while, been a little while. And look, the San Francisco Giants, if I'm not mistaken, are they're either at the top or very close to it of having the most Hall of Famers from an organization. So it tells you there's something special about not only the New York Giants, but also the San Francisco Giants. So there you go.
Another
man.
number going up on that left field line on the perch down there in left field. Eric, you're going to make
absolutely
move over a little bit, make a little room, and I tell you, it's a big day for Giant fans.
It's
exactly.
Great.
It is absolutely. And look, we'll get back to Jeff Kent, but there's a lot of talk out there as well. Barry Bonds did not achieve the minimum 5 votes, so he will not, in any way, shape, or fashion, ever be elected into the Hall of Fame.
Never say never.
You
never say never. Yeah. You might see Pete in there one day, so you never say never, Eric.
Good, bad, or indifferent, at this particular time, he is not going to get into the Hall of Fame, and everyone understands what it's for, and I'm not here to debate that. That's for another day. It is what it is, man, and it's a damn shame. It is. Really, it is, but what are you going to do, man?
Hey, Eric. Yeah. I have a question. You're when you started on your opening, you were mentioning it took too long. Do you think maybe because a little East Coast bias on
possible.
Jeff Kent? Being
possible.
a Giant, he wasn't the loudest guy. I think, me, and I think Glenn brings up a great point. Growing up with Jeff Kent, I remember 2 big incidents. One was the fight where he got in the fight in the dugout with Bonds saying, "Hey, I don't give a shit who you are.
Right.
I'm the player," right, is one. And of course, number 2, they actually started inventing rules on the player's contract because, as we know, he injured himself. And he said it was nothing, but obviously he was on a motorcycle where he broke his wrist. And then that started rules where now you, under contract, are not allowed to use motorized vehicles and all this stuff in the off season. So he was very unique in his own way. But I think the one great thing about Jeff, and this is ironic, is he played with a guy with Bonds, but when he won his MVP, he beat Bonds. So it wasn't like one carried the other or vice versa. They both carried each other and they needed each other, and I just think that's sort of ironic because a lot of people don't know when he did win the MVP, he beat Bonds, or Bonds would have been one of those where it would have been like, 4 straight years. But I think, very well. The thing about, like I said, think about Jeff is he was known for his mustache and his play on the field. He wasn't like one of these guys that had a lot of problems outside of the game. He showed up, and you knew when he was going to come, you were going to get a great effort. And I think that's one of the big problems now is we were sort of spoiled when we watch him. And I think that's the thing where people don't realize We all talk like Webb. Oh, Webb's a Cy Young. He's not a Cy Young. He's a solid number 2 pitcher. He's not an ace. This is a Hall of Famer. So when you look at the Giants and you look at guys like Chapman at third, he's not a Hall of Famer. Okay. This is what it takes. It shows you how good these guys were performing. And I think the other thing about Kent, it's just look at his stats, and Gary brought this up as a Giant. Pretty amazing. If you look at his stats, every single year, he was always over 100 RBIs. He was always close to 30, 35 home runs. He showed up. And he didn't show up for 1 year. And the reason why I bring that up is we all talked about Adames last year. He showed up 2 years ago, and it was a contract year. Okay. Kent showed up every time as a Giant. We were lucky to get him. We got 6 years of an incredible ball player, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
You know what, Eric?
Hey, guys.
Eric, you and I bring this show to the people, to the fandom of the Giants, right? But I think the glue that brings this whole thing together is great guests like Lou and Gary, and we got to roll out a red carpet once in a while too.
Absolutely.
And now, another special guest appearance on Giant Sports Talk Live.
The man, the legend.
All right.
There he is.
Hey, Marty, how's it going?
Well, very good. Lou said it perfectly. I came in the middle of that. Lou always nails it. It's great. Look, we said this last week that he was the most deserving of the crowd. And as I'm sitting there watching him, I just thought to myself, with all the trade rumors and all the stuff about the Giants, give me 9 players like this guy. Give me 9 like him, and I'll take care of business. And that's what he did. He played the game the right way. He drove runs in. He hit home runs. The trade, it was Brian Sabean, an idiot. Come on. Remember the trade? And he was vilified for Matt Williams. And the trade that happened. And Tavares came over, and Joe Roa and people like that, and said Brian Sabean's crazy. What's he doing? And this guy became the glue with Bonds. He really did to put this franchise together. And like he said, opening the new ballpark, the guy was in tears. They asked him, who are you going in as, an Angel? A Dodger? And he said, absolutely not. I'm a Giant. And that was the heart that he brought to the club. And I'm thrilled for him. I had the honor of introducing him at a Cal banquet 10 years ago. And I did a lot of research on him at that point. And I realized he was in 1,200 double plays. He was in countless games as a second baseman. And he had more home runs than anybody who ever played second base. And he's hard-nosed, man. You mess with him in the dugout, he got into a fight with him. This guy came to play ball. And I'm thrilled for him. The right guy got in. Absolutely. And we said it last week on the show. I said, they'll probably put Murphy in or Mattingly, for sentimental reasons. They didn't mess around. These committees are handpicked for a reason. And the reason is, when you look at the players who got less than 5 votes, and you know who I'm talking about, Bonds, Clemens, and Sheffield, the crowd that they put on this committee, they were not going to vote for those guys. Right. But they did recognize a hard-nosed player who, from 97, I guess maybe this at his first year here, till the guy left, he never, ever, other than washing his truck and all that craziness, other than that, this guy never, ever made you wonder about his effort on the ballpark. So I'm thrilled for him. I'm really happy, and it's good. This is good for all of us.
Eric, in the last show, when we prognosticated about this coming to fruition, and I brought up some of the other Hall of Fames, you know what, Marty? You talk about the joke of what is, the absolute joke of what is an entertainment Hall of Fame. That's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You've got the NHL and the NFL, but this is the toughest one. This is where the cream rises to the top. This is where they have the best in there, and I got to applaud them for that.
Well, they scrutinize you. Look, and Josh Rowich made a point of giving the criteria, and you hear the criteria: character, contribution to the game. This is that one institution that we have left. That I said this on the show.
You did.
The one institution that we have left that we can put on a pedestal and say, with all the nuttiness going on in the world and everyone you see, no matter who you believe, right or left, this is the one spot where we say, you got to have some purity to get in. And this is the one spot to do it. And Kent, he fulfills it. It's beautiful.
And Marty, how about this? He should have been elected before coming to this committee. No, I mean, what do you think was the reason why he was left off? On the outside looking in, as far as the regular voting is concerned. I mean, he had the same numbers as he did now. Was it the competition? Was it the association? Maybe because he was playing, even though there was nothing about him using PEDs. What do you think was the reason why he just couldn't get in on a regular vote?
Good question. Maybe the metrics were coming into play. Was he that good as a second baseman and all that kind of stuff? He was not. He wasn't a friendly guy. It wasn't like Bonds. He would blow you off. But, he wasn't, when you talk to him, you were talking ball. And maybe that turned some of the voters off. It's a good question. It really is a good question, and probably should be answered by some of the people who didn't vote for him.
Absolutely. Gary, I mean, here we go. I mean, this is something special. You already got your room booked, right?
Every year, guys, I'm hoping that some Giant gets elected because I always rent out a room in Cooperstown. And sometimes I just go because somebody's great. But the last few years I've been going, renting the room just in case. I thought Bruce Bochy might get in, but then he came out of retirement. But this year, I rented the room. And I was hoping for this day, and I am super pumped to be going up to where baseball lives in July because Jeff Kent is so deserving of this. He Marty said everything perfectly about him. Hard nose. He hit a home run. He didn't do any of this dancing. He put his head down and he circled the bases the way the game should be played.
Yeah.
And like I said, other than Will Clark, have I been watching the San Francisco Giants? That's the one guy I wanted up in a clutch situation. He was terrific. And I really feel his fielding was underrated. He was more than adequate. Didn't cost him any games. But he's known for his hitting. He had 8 out of 9 seasons with 100 RBIs in a row. And the one he didn't have, he only played 130 games because he usually played 150. I think he would have got 7 more RBIs in 20 games. So this is a great day for San Francisco Giant baseball. And I am so happy that Jeff Kent got in.
It's awesome. And I tell you, here it is on the eve, the winter meetings of, whatever the Giants are going to do. And it's great to see, to kick off the winter meetings with seeing a former San Francisco Giant to get elected to the Hall. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at 97 through, the period of time that he was there, the team was very successful. They ended up in the World Series. They had a couple of playoff teams, and they got knocked out a few times. But other than Kent, who are we talking about that gets in? I mean, Bonds, of course, should be, but, he's in a special category. But, Kent was the guy. Mm-hmm. He was the guy, and then this team did win. They did win, and they had some good pitching along the way, but Kent was the guy. And I just think when he struck out or made an out, he put the bat down and put his helmet on the plate, and he went away. And he just talking to him over the years in spring training when they bring him in as to work with some of the players. And I haven't done it in the last few years. Once Farhan got here, they stopped doing it. But I hope they bring him back again. And he gets to be around the players. He just brings a class to the organization. And when they asked him what he was going in as, I thought he was just going to break down. When he started talking about Dusty and the ballpark, and you might as well just put Giants all over him. And it was cool. This is a good moment for the Giants.
That's
no
great.
No theatrics,
No theatrics. Lou, you saw it firsthand. You've been a season ticket holder for since they came to San Francisco. You've seen a lot of baseball with Jeff Kent. Give us your thoughts on what it was like to go to a game and watch.
Well, you got to remember the Giants.
Jeff Kent go out there. And look, and here's another thing. He wasn't your like prototypical looking second baseman.
No. You got to remember, I've had basically the same seats, third base, and the Giants, when they played at the Stick, were in the first base dugout. So, I used to be able to watch a lot. I just thought what he did is he knew baseball was fun, but it was also a job. And he didn't really let anybody get to him. He realized it was an honor to play for the San Francisco Giants, which I think a lot of people take for granted. He knew that at times, without him being his best, Bonds couldn't carry, and he tried to convince Barry, hey, both of us need to work together or we're not going to get to the dance. And I think that's where he made himself better and just an overall great Giant because, second of all, he was a very tough out. It wasn't like he struck out a lot. He was one of those guys where when he hit the ball, it had that special sound, and you don't really see that from guys that don't hit 500 homers, but I think the key thing about him is he was, again, consistent, RBIs, doubles, triples, and, the Giants, again, very lucky because of the trade, which I know you guys will go over more about, but he was a great Giant. And I think Marty brought up a great point. We haven't had somebody, since, 2000, and I don't know who's going to really get it next. I mean, I think one good thing about this is the Hall of Fame sort of took a step back with some of the recent classes of who they let in, where I don't think some of the guys really deserve, because the Hall of Fame is Hall of Fame, the best of the best. And they finally made a great statement saying, hey, one of the greatest second basemen of all time, he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. And I think, they did a job well done. And if I remember right, I don't know who he's going in with. Is he going to be solo? Because I don't know if any of the guys...
They're going to vote and then reveal it in January.
Oh, in January. Okay. Yeah. Okay, because
Marty made a great point regarding that team. But, in the future, Marty, I feel that Dusty Baker is going to get in, and it would also be as a Giant.
Yeah, no, Dusty would, like Bochy will. But, you look at the players, though. I mean,
no players.
Give me some players from there. Rich Aurelia, guys, Kenny Lofton and Ellis Burks. They were solid players. Don't forget, Kent went to Cal. He was a shortstop at Cal. When he got into the big leagues, he was, a third baseman? And I think someone commented on the
anonymous. Yep.
About that. So he was a third baseman. He was a shortstop. And then they traded for him. And I got to go back to the trade. I mean, Brian Sabian has got to be sitting there feeling pretty good tonight.
Absolutely.
It was the beginning of his era. Remember the flack that he took for trading Matt Williams, at that point?
And it changed the whole entire franchise, Marty.
Right.
It changed everything for the next 15 years.
And if the social media was back then like it was now, oh my gosh.
We'd be having shows talking about Ralph Barbieri and people. I mean, they call him an idiot. They literally said, there's something wrong. The lunatic fringe came out, and Kent turned it around. It's just look, he's a solid baseball player that achieved a lot. He was a solid second baseman. He never really hurt you. He turned a ton of double. I'll tell you, look him up. How many double plays the guy participated in. And he was a solid hitter on a team that was a winning team. And he accomplished things as a second baseman no one else ever did.
Right.
And I love, talk about 100 RBI seasons. Come on. How about that?
That's incredible. It's absolutely
so it's well-deserved. I'm glad he got it. Delgado came close. And Delgado's another one that, probably if he hangs around long enough, could possibly get it. Murphy and Mattingly, this is a tough committee. I mean, Murphy, they did the biggest PR job that I've ever seen to try to get him in this time. And they couldn't convince couldn't convince him. Look at as I said on our show, look at the people on the committee. You know, you're not telling Ozzie Smith and Alan Trammell and Robin Yount and Tony Perez and Jim Cott and Juan Marichal what to do. And if they don't think you're a Hall of Famer, you're not getting in. It's not happening. And they picked hard-nosed Hall of Fame baseball players to run this committee, and they did it.
Yep. Glenn, you've been talking about this for a while on the show. You know, when's the last time the Giants have had a solid second baseman? And I think you said after Jeff Kent, it was kind of a revolving door, right?
Yeah, it always seemed to be by committee, and it always seemed to be, and to Marty's point, they would add, you know, they would make not necessarily bizarre moves, but there was always that move when they were in the playoff chase, got to add a second baseman. So they saw the need to add in that spot over, you know, I would say the last 15, 20 years. But you got to go back to Jeff Kent. The last time we really had a solid second baseman to put up those kind of numbers there.
Well, Freddie was pretty good. Freddie, when they brought Freddie over.
Yeah, but he was injured. Freddie's
Yeah.
Boudreaux was pretty good, but
Jeff was just blue collar. You knew what you got from the guy.
But for longevity,
right.
This was the guy.
This was the guy.
This was the guy for longevity.
What is going to happen? What is going to happen? Maybe not in our. I'm looking down the road. So Eric, you, I, some of us here, we might not be here when this comes to fruition. But you look at guys like this who are on sort of a cusp of getting in. The Jeff Kent numbers don't lie offensively. Who are they going to put in the Hall of Fame some 40 years from now, Eric? I mean, the game has changed so much. I mean, a 290 career average? Holy crap. That is not existent in the game as we know it anymore, Eric. I mean, it's really a shame the way baseball is sort of, I mean, you hit 220 for a season, but you hit 35, 40 home runs. Oh, you're an all-star. You're a stud. That's not, I mean, what happened? What happened to the game, Marty?
Well, we don't have the great stars. I mean, we have players. I mean, but you're talking Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, guys like that are gonna get in. I don't know. It's a different group because you don't need 500 home runs, and you don't need 3,000 hits, and you don't need 300 wins. So if you're marketed properly, and if your Jaws and WAR numbers add up, you're going to have a shot to get in, and that's the way they're going to look at it. It's no longer the icon of the game. You know, the Stan Musial, the guy you look at and who dominated, you know, the league for 15 years. It's not that way anymore. And the steroid guys really ruined it because those guys should be in. A-Rod is a Hall of Famer. Manny's a Hall of Famer. Bonds is a Hall of Famer. Clemens is a Hall of Famer. Sheffield is a Hall of Famer. Palmeiro should be a Hall of Famer. But the guys who had all the big numbers ended up being steroid guys.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It contaminated, if you will, the pool to be able to draw from. But here's another thing too, Gary. I mean, you got to book a room next year as well. Buster Posey, right? Next year,
27. Yes.
So
that's a slam dunk in my. He's first ballot.
Well, it should be, but it should be. Let's put it that way. But you know, you got to deal with Yadier Molina and things like that. But yeah, Posey, for what he accomplished, you'd think he should be. But again, Gary, you look at the numbers; they're not Carlton Fisk numbers or Gary Carter numbers, Yogi Berra numbers or anything like that. But as Lou says, you could take all that, but he's got 3.
And exactly.
And
you guys live out there. You never took the champagne in until he arrived, and then you got 3 with him. And as good a defensive catcher he was, I always thought they looked at him more as a hitter, but he was the quarterback of the team. He was incredible.
Well, that's it, right. Gary. As the years go on now, you realize how important he was to the team because you see the job he's doing now and the way he stepped into it. That's the way he was then. And now we're seeing it. We're really seeing more of the personality.
And so Lou, you made a comment about this coming Hall of Fame induction week. Kent might go solo. I don't know if I don't know. There's not a great list of candidates.
Where are we
I
at?
mean,
Andrew Jones still? Andrew Jones? Who else we got?
Carlos Beltran, Andrew Jones.
Beltran. Yeah, Beltran probably is the one.
Because Gary and Marty, to me, growing up a Hall of Famer was such a special player. I mean,
Yeah.
the last couple of years, except for Ichiro, I don't think any of those guys deserved it. Scott Rowland, are you kidding me? He's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know, and that's what I mean by they took it down a little bit. I mean, again, growing up, you know, you knew who the superstars were. When Mel Allen would mention you on Twib Notes, you knew you were pretty special. And it was one of those things, those were the players that you went to go see, you know, and especially, you know, growing up with the Giants, like, you know, I never got to see Mays because, you know, I was a little bit too young. But, you know, when I saw McCovey, they had that stature, you know, sort of like right now, obviously with Ichiro. I mean, not Ichiro, but Ichiro was still so special. But I'm thinking of Ohtani and Judge. They're the people where you stop to watch. And it's one of those things. And, you know, again, it's just one of those things where they give you the feel that you're seeing something special, unique, that you don't mind paying to see them live.
How about Bryce Harper, Lou? Where do you put Bryce Harper?
You know, he's right there, but I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. Because I'm going against people. And again, I think, you know, I'm looking at Buster, Harper, you know, Manny at third. I don't know. To me, you just got to do a little bit more. Now, Buster with the 3 championships, hey, you're in. I have no problem with him. But really, you know, except for maybe, I mean, I'm looking at just other Giants. You know, is the Freak a Hall of Famer?
No.
You know, I mean, he's had great stats, but to me,
you know,
he
does. I mean, he's
Mad Bum with the most incredible thing. Is he a Hall of Famer? To me, a Hall of Fame is the creme of la creme. So
the only guy you could argue is Bum. Yeah. Bum, you could argue.
Yeah.
You
and
could
here's
argue.
the thing, right? Because we're talking about Buster Posey. He's got the accolades. Tim Lincecum's got the same. He's got 2 Cy Youngs. He's got 3 World Series.
No hitters.
Yeah,
he's got them. But what is he
last
lacking?
2 World Series, he really wasn't a factor.
Buster Posey, right?
No, Lincecum.
Well, the second one, yeah, was more of a bridge.
He needed another 3 or 4 big years.
Yeah, he did, and then I agree with that. But we're and Glenn, let me ask you this: longevity. How do you weigh that? Because look, availability or is the best ability, they say, right? But you got to go out there and you got to put up numbers. No, there's no doubt about it. How do you weigh longevity? I mean, you got a guy like out there, what's his name? Steve. He played for 2 decades worth of baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you're going to accumulate a lot of numbers because you play so long. But where do you weigh longevity? I mean, is it high? Do you weigh it pretty high or in conjunction with, say, other stats?
You know, from the San Jose area, his plaque, I've stopped to read it many times. He's on the little wall of fame that they have over there on the formerly known as SAP Center when I go to the Shark games. Dave Stieb on that wall. I grew up watching Dave Stieb. Dave Stieb was a competitor out of the Bay Area, played for the Toronto Blue Jays countless times. I don't know, Marty, maybe you can remember how many times you'd be talking on the radio about, Dave Stieb, 2 outs in the 9th. He lost like 6 no-hitters.
We're going to have a guy on.
Eric. I mean,
we're going to have a guy on who wrote a book about no-hitters, and he's got a big thing on Dave Stieb. We'll have him on the next week or so. Eric knows on the show, but you're right.
Seeing that.
Yeah,
Dave Stieb did it over. He couldn't close that particular deal, but he did it over time. And a guy like Mad Bum, see, that comes into play. Mad Bum, what he did in a I think the window is too small, Eric. I think it's just, I mean, his career is still somewhat of a seed that didn't grow. Memories. We got our memories out of America, but I think a true Hall of Famer does it, and you have longevity.
Mad Bum gave up his arm for the team. He gave up his arm for the team. He did. The innings pitched and the way they used him.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
I look at him like I look at Kirby Puckett in a way. You know, Kirby Puckett, got in. He got glaucoma. And if you look at his stats up until that point, they were on the way to Hall of Fame, but they weren't there yet. And for Mad Bum, maybe because we saw it all. But if you needed a win during his years, I'd take him over anybody.
He did so.
So would I. So would I, Marty. But I still don't think that he certainly did. To me, I don't think he had a Hall of Fame career.
He didn't.
I'll tell you what, though. He has done something that has never been done, and it's been. Then people have tried to replicate it, and they can't do it. When he came out for that 5-inning save in 2014, no one has come close. You got Yamamoto, kind of, but it's nowhere near what Mad Bum did. I mean, he pitched game 1, he pitched game 5, and then he comes in game 7 and shuts it down. I mean, that was just unbelievable. Again, they've tried to do that since then, and it hasn't quite worked out too well.
I don't know. Don't you buy into the longevity factor, though, Eric? I mean, last year, what was it, a little over a year ago? About 14, 15 months ago, I remember watching you on the air and a number of your cast of characters. I wasn't part of the show at that time, but you were talking about, holy crap, player of the week, Matos, 15 RBIs. Oh, this guy's going to be the longevity. What do you think, Lou? I think longevity, you've got to do it over count. You got to continue to show up, and I don't think a short window defines it. Are we going to say that Tim Lincecum had 2 no-hitters in a few seasons? He did one on the road, and he did one at home. Holy crap, 2 no-hitters! Should he be in the Hall of Fame? No, he didn't have a Hall of Fame career. A career is not a short stint. A career is longevity. Right, Lou?
Look at Johan Santana. Santana was the same way, the lefty. He did what Lincecum did, but he got hurt. No, you're right. Matt Cain. When you look at the 10, 12, 14, it was pitching. I mean, the defense was good, and, the having Renteria and Uribe and Panic and,
there were
the way
fillers.
They played.
Pieces that fit in the puzzle. Yeah.
But the Vogelsong, when Zito got hurt and Vogelsong walked in and became Vogelsong, wow, that just changed things. And Zito had the shutout in Colorado, and you're right. Lincecum didn't play. He was the bridge in the World Series there. They didn't use him that much.
Yeah.
What's that term we always use, Eric? You're in the minute. Well, I always forget that.
Recency bias.
Recency bias. I think often there's Giants bias, and rightly so. I mean, we watch them, so we get to see them on a regular basis. But I mean, you're talking about Hall of Fame and career players. I mean, you can't. To me, you can't get caught up in the moment, and I don't think one playoff run defines a career, or one playoff series. I'm a guy. I think I agree with Lou. Guys like, Mike Schmitz and the Bob Boones and the Pete Rose, if you will. These guys put up Hall of Fame careers and numbers. And Cody Ross, holy crap, Cody Ross almost single-handedly won us a World Series. He ain't no Hall of Famer though, Eric.
Yeah.
So I'm a guy. I stand for the guy who did it over. He stood the test of time. That's right,
Lou. You got to have some longevity. I'm not saying you don't. Yeah, I'm just saying, where do you weigh it?
I mean, to me, a Hall of Famer is if I were to say a team, you would probably come up with 3 guys on a team. And when you thought of the Toronto Blue Jays, you thought of Dave Steve. Right? He was sort of their superstar, but he was there forever. And I've actually been pretty nice where I've met him a few times. He lives up in Reno. The guy cannot be any nicer. People bug him once they know who he is. He signs every autograph, takes every photo. To me, an all-around great guy. But what I mean by that is, look at the Expos. Okay? When you think of the Expos beside Rusty Staub, you think of probably 3 or 4 guys of the Expos, right? 2 of the 3 of the 4 are going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Dodgers, the Giants, they always have. When you think of the Giants, they always think of players. Willie Mays. Who else? Cepeda. All right. Who else? Juan Marichal, right? Longevity. You think of the Giants not with other teams. And I just think growing up, that's what made guys special. You know, I mean, we're all a little bit younger than Marty, but the great thing about Marty will bring up 5 or 6 guys. We have no clue who they are, and he'll tell them why they're so unique and so special in so many ways. Obviously we have Gary here. You know, we have the San Francisco Giants, but we have more Hall of Famers from the New York Giants, and he'll tell you why, right? Why are they so special playing with the New York Giants? You got to remember back then you had 3 teams that literally could see each other, right? You had the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Giants in that triangle where the rivalry was crazy. You had to win the division to go to the dance. It was intense. You had people, you can only root for one. But when you look back at them, they had so many amazing people that made that rivalry good. It wasn't because they were neighbors, it's because the quality of play. And to me, when you think of the quality of play, you know, Jeff Kent definitely deserved it. I think he probably didn't get it because of a little East Coast bias, like everything else. You know, he's a second baseman. He plays for the Giants. Also, when you think about that generation, everyone talks about Bonds or they talk about Matt Williams. Jeff Kent was always the guy behind the scenes, but he showed up when it counted.
And Gary,
what about Will Clark? How about Will Clark? Guys?
Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah, see, Will Clark for me, when you look at that, you know, his era, Will Clark was very special as a Giant. And look, they've recognized him and, you know, they've retired his number and all that. But Will Clark fits in there. Look, you know, Lou, you described baseball. It's been around a long time. And there are these great rivalries, and there are reasons why. Reggie Smith against the Dodgers, Sal Magley against the Dodgers. You know, Sal Magley had 5 or 6 really good years. Is he a Hall of Famer? No. But that's what baseball's all about. It's the stories, but it is the great ones, like Glenn says, that go on and on and on and are there for your entire enjoyment of a franchise for 15 years, 10 years, and people move around, but they were part of the fabric of the game for that period of time. And that's what makes a Hall of Famer. And for Kent, I think he was that kind of guy in baseball. I think he was that kind of guy. Someone wants to know how old I am. 79.
There you go. 79 years young,
my
right?
birthday's coming up.
Hey, all right.
By a couple of years.
The dog is
There you go.
barking.
Yeah, I hear KO. KO is excited.
He's barking.
Marty, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm like you with Will Clark. Do you feel that if Will Clark remained on the Giants, he would have been in the Hall of Fame?
I think so. I really do.
That's where the longevity that Lou was speaking about, like being on a team for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they kept winning, you know, if they won and he was still part of the team, and he could have played to 2002, which would have been from 86 to 2002, he would have 300 kind of hitter, over 2,000 hits. Yeah, I think Will is in the mix just like Kent.
He was the clutchest Giant I ever saw playing. You know,
yeah, see, Kent. The thing about Kent is you have specific numbers you can point to that separate him from all other second basemen. Now, Lou Whitaker's got 1 million doubles, and it's a great fielder, and Lou Whitaker should probably be in too. But when it comes to Kent, you can say, hey, he's got more home runs at second base than anybody who ever played the game.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's got RBIs. He's got this. He was a hard-nosed player. He was part of the he's got all the intangibles that go with it. But with Kent, you could point to something. With Carlos Delgado, what are you going to point to? That's the issue. With Beltran, what are you going to point to with these people? Kent was lucky in a way that he had that record as a second baseman. That's what got him in.
And real quick, and Gary, maybe you know this. How many home runs did Mr. Jeff Kent have while playing in San Francisco? What was his total numbers while he was in playing for the Giants? That's something I don't know.
I don't know that either, but I know he had more than, he had 100 RBIs for 6 years with them. So had at least 600 plus, probably 700 RBIs in the 6 years.
So you're telling me you're capable of being able to hit RBIs and knock the ball out of the park while playing in San Francisco, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure Just
All right.
want to make sure.
And the 17-year career that Glenn was speaking about, he was not a compiler. When he left, he still was hitting 280. He didn't just hit 210 and then fade out. He was. This is a great day, but it really is a long time coming because, like Marty said, it's where he played second base. Played second base, and he was one of the greatest second basemen of all time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And okay, Gary, let me ask you this: where do you put him in the pantheon of Giants? I mean, is he up there? I mean, is he? You got your upper tier, right? Willie Mays, Willie McCovey. If you want to go back to New York, right? You got Christy Mathewson and Carl Hubble and Mel Ott. I mean, where does Jeff Kent in your book? Where's he
in my book, he's a really solid franchise Giant. In San Francisco terms, the best second baseman of all time in San Francisco.
There you go. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
No way you can't argue with
he has, as someone pointed out, he has 175 homers as a Giant. But when you look at his years and what he contributed in those years, he becomes special at that point. And when he left here, he continued doing it when he left here.
Yeah.
So he deserves it. He deserves it.
Absolutely. It's been unanimous in our conversation today that he was a clutch player. Nobody could get this guy out. He had all of his home runs. They came off 257 different pitchers. Nobody could close the door and lock it on this guy. And again, I think this is a great day for Jeff Kent and Giants.
And it wasn't even the home runs. He had great alley power, both sides, left center and right center. I used to love watching him hit.
Just clutch.
He's clutch.
Eric, I think the key is I'm just going to go over quick his stats, and then I want to talk about strikeouts because besides being a great player from his first year through his 6th year, he also cut down strikeouts, but he hit better. He had better years because he made contact. We talk about the Giants right now. We just wish guys would make better contact in clutch situations. So I'm just going to go over that. So remember, he got traded for Matt Williams. Not many people even knew who he was. All right. So these are his stats: 97, 29 homers, 121 RBIs, 133 strikeouts.
Take that.
Great year. The next year, 31 homers, 128 RBIs, 110 strikeouts. 23 homers, 101 RBIs, 111 strikeouts. Consistent. Then 33 homers, 125 RBIs, only 104 strikeouts. That was his MVP year.
Is that when they were in Oracle Park by that time?
That was the first year in Oracle Park.
And he hit 33 bombs. Got it.
Right. And remember, the Giants, when they first started Oracle Park, we thought it was the worst thing ever. The Giants lost their first 6 games and everyone else was hitting. All right. Then he comes back after an all-star year. He has 22 homers, 106 RBIs, and only 65 strikeouts.
That's incredible.
Right. Then he comes back 27 homers, 107 RBIs, only 49 strikeouts. So, he's one of these guys that got better once he understood how to be a major leaguer. And I think too many times the Giants, because he started, remember that this was now his 5th team in 5 years. Once he, sometimes I think Marty brings this up too. It takes a while for these guys to understand to be a major leaguer. It's so different from the minor leagues. Now you have the pressure. You're actually playing in bigger ballparks. You're going against the creme de la creme. I think the one great thing about Jeff we don't talk about is he got better as a player. He got better as a hitter. And as the Giants, without him there, I mean, when you really look at it, we made a clutch move. Matt Williams, we gave away, and we got him, and we had better results.
Yeah, and Marty, maybe you could speak to this. Did he ever mention, talking about Jeff Kent, did someone talk to him and teach him, hey, maybe this is the way, a different approach?
Yeah, Dusty. He said Dusty talked to him. Dusty changed his approach. to choke up on the bat a little bit and to go the other way and that kind of stuff. But don't forget, Oracle is built for a right-handed hitter.
It is.
You know, right-handed hitters can knock it out. It is a park made for right-handed hitting. You know, the other thing that Lou said, this guy hit third or fourth. You know, he wasn't hitting eighth or seventh. It just didn't show
Pressure.
up. And, you know, this wasn't Bill Mazeroski, you know, just showed up and happened to hit a big home run. This guy was the heart of the order. And the other thing that I heard was when you look at the total number of games played at second base all time, he's like in the top 10. So this wasn't a guy who just said, let's just shove him over to second base and see what he can do. He really was a second baseman. He really was. And we tend to think of him more because of the power and all the other stuff, but he was a solid second baseman for a long time. And I think that's critical to remember that. That's who he was.
Absolutely. I mean, my gosh, this is just, and it's great for the organization, right? For the Giants. You look, we're trying to, you know, get our feet underneath ourselves, so to speak. You got Buster Posey in his second year as Pobo. You know, now, you know, when you start off the winter meetings with an announcement like this, you know, maybe it gives them maybe a little motivation, I hope, to go out there and say, look, Giants have had some damn good players, and now we got one that's going to go into the Hall of Fame this summer, and we got another one that's going to be following afterwards. So, Glenn,
Hey,
what do you
Eric,
think? Yeah, go ahead.
Eric, you're a Giants. You know, we're all homers because we all love the Giants.
Of course.
But what do you think of Kent? And, you know, what is he for you? In your top 20 all-time Giants, top 25? Or are you so young compared to all the other four that maybe he's not in your top 25?
Oh, man, he's up there. I mean, if you think about it, if you want to just go with the San Francisco era,
Yeah, he's top 10.
I mean, he's in the top 10.
yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Absolutely.
He's in the top 10 easily. So, I mean, gosh, this is just,
Yeah.
it's
I think if you didn't put him in
got
the
some
top
good
10,
vibes here.
I don't think, Eric, if you didn't put him in the top 10, you're really selling him short.
Absolutely.
No, look, you don't have that era without him.
No, you don't.
You know, when did he leave? What was his last year, Lou, as a Giant?
Would it be
2002. He then went to
2002.
Houston for 2003.
That's right.
So you're talking 97 to 2002, and how many times were they in the playoffs in that period of time?
Every year.
And you're not there without him.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, Will Clark left and he took over. He became the Will Clark, the number.
I had the I don't know what word you call it, but I had to sit here, watch them play in 2000 against the Mets and get one hit off Bobby Jones. And you know who that hitter was? Jeff Kent got the only hit. Playoffs against the Mets.
Now, here's the thing. You don't see Jeff Kent around the organization. Do you think this changes a little bit? Do you think Jeff Kent goes around? Maybe he does, and they just don't talk about it. But it seems like since he's been done with baseball, you don't hear a whole heck of a lot from Jeff Kent.
No, I want to hear from Wotus and Dusty Baker, you know, and people who coached
Yes.
and managed around Felipe and see what he's got to say, because that's the insight you want to get. They'll tell you exactly the kind of ball player he was.
That would be, hey, Marty, that would be great to get Wotus on. I'd love to hear what he had to say about that.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't do that this week and get him on and talk about it. Well, a week from today, where will Bryce Eldridge be?
Oh, here we go. All right. Hey,
No, we're going
it's
down
not
that
me,
road, are we?
guys. Don't be throwing arrows at me.
I'm just asking.
Tune into the Marty Laurie
Yeah.
show.
Okay, I tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark. I think he's gonna be playing in Detroit. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. I think he plays in Detroit.
All right. I say he's here.
I
Okay.
say he's here.
He's the
Okay.
best prospect they got. They can't trade him.
That's fair. That's fair. No, there
are
cannot-
reasons
I
to
cannot
trade him?
say that wouldn't happen. Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons. We've broken it down, Eric, over the last 2 weeks. There are reasons to deal him. And the reasons being,
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't shown what he can do, but he hasn't shown what he can't do. You know what happens with a prospect? A prospect is a prospect. You don't know what you're getting. If you deal him, you're dealing him for something you know. You've
Well,
got
look,
quality.
You
But
saw
he
what
looks-
happened to
he looks
Luciano.
like-
I agree with Marty. If they were to deal, there's just something about dealing him a new player of baseball operations, young like Buster. If he was to make that, he's already made some moves, Eric, that have been risky. We've seen that.
I
So
think
I think that
Ramos.
if you deal him, the ramifications down the road could haunt the Giants.
Yeah, I think Ramos could be dealt.
Yeah.
I truly do. And then look at Luciano.
Yes.
I'd rather Eldridge's arc at 20 and Luciano's arc at 20. Very similar, but
Yeah.
Eldridge looks better than Luciano ever did.
True.
Luciano, he kept waiting for that to happen. This guy has actually hit home runs and actually shown the ability that, a good strike zone and all that. So he's better than Luciano was at the same age.
Eric,
But
let me
there's
ask-
also
let me ask Marty.
Real quick, Glenn. I mean,
Yep.
look at all the draft picks that we've had. They really haven't as far as the Giants. Now, look, they don't always pan out, but the history on draft picks hasn't been exactly there, right? With Luciano and you got Matos and Tyler Beatty, Kyle Crick, Joey Bart, Christian Arroyo. I mean, you could go down the list. It's not exactly a successful adventure for the Giants in far as their prospects, but we'll see what happens. Gary, what do you think? Where's Eldridge?
I'm really on the fence with him, mainly because of what I've seen from Matos, Luciano, McRae. That being said, I kind of agree with Marty. He's only 20. I'd be scared to deal somebody who might hit 40 home runs a year from now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
There's also the risk. I'd like to get Marty's take, and I know Lou will have a take. He can jump in as well, Eric. If I could ask Marty, kind of a bone of contention on Giant Sports Talk Live the past 2 years. A guy like Luciano, you gave him away. What is this holding on to players until their value is, and then somebody else is either going to give him a shot and may benefit from them, but you got nothing. Look at last year's trade deadline. You had Snell. You knew what was going to happen. Everyone in the room knew what was going to happen. Oh, we got to hold on to. You can't move them, and we end up with these players. We get buckus for them. I don't like that, Marty.
Yeah, I'm with you. You can't be afraid to make moves. You can't be afraid to do it. But Luciano never had a position, which
No.
was the problem. His defense killed him. The bat. I always thought the bat. Look, I'll still say it. The bat's there. That bat is going to play somewhere. It's not Joey Bart's bat. It's better. But he never could get a position to play. And then the thing with Snell, it's, they're on the cusp of playoffs all the time. And you don't want to give up this guy, and you don't want to, make those kind of moves. And that's the way the Giants run it. But Posey is a new man. He's a new man. This week will be so interesting for the Giants to see what they do, because they know that they need help at a number of spots. They've got to go out and do it. So let's see what happens this week.
I don't like the fact you have a team that oh God, we could do another 3 hours. This is going to get slow. You got a team that chases the playoffs. Sometimes admitting defeat and saying we're going to miss the playoffs to make the team better for years to come. I don't like this chase the playoffs, and I always call it plug in the dam and let's just get in. I just want to see a better product on the field day to day, month to month, and year to year, and make this a winning organization, not just sneak into playoffs.
Well, we'll see. Let's see what Tony brings to the table here. I love having Wash here. I love the way he approaches baseball. Let's see what they do. That's the beauty of baseball.
Yeah. And Marty, what other organization has 4 former managers that are part of the? You got Jace Tingler, you got Warren Washington, Bruce Bochy, and Dusty Baker. You got they're surrounding Tony with some guys, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they can't surround him when the game's on the line in the 7th inning.
And there you go. That's going to be.
I have to figure out.
As Eric says, the manager's not out there on the field, right, Eric?
That's right. Lou, where's Eldridge?
Yeah, we got to get Lou's take.
I think the one thing about Eldridge, if you can, first of all, let me ask you this. With Eldridge next year on the team, are the Giants better?
To be determined.
That was
do we
quick.
know?
No, I'm just saying
honestly.
that. But if you have an opportunity to trade him to make the Giants better,
Correct.
you have to think about it. We just talked an hour about Jeff Kent, where the Giants made a trade that they absolutely loved with Matt Williams. They loved him. And look what happened. Because you got to remember, the reason why, and Eric, I want to bring up that Jeff Kent maybe doesn't hang around here, is he had a great year. His last year, he had 37 homers and 108 RBIs, and the Giants just said, we can't afford you both, either Jeff Kent or Bonds, and they went with Bonds. So it might have been, one of those things. That's why, he doesn't hang out. Now as a Giant Hall of Famer, maybe he'll come back. Because if you look, his first year with Houston, he had a pretty good year.
Don't forget, Lou, he was very tight with Dusty. Very tight. And he explained that tonight. And don't forget, Dusty was good. Dusty had the big problem in 2002 with the taxes and with Peter McGowan and everything else. So Dusty was gone. And probably that paved the way for Kent to go, too.
Yeah, exactly. But, I'm just saying, if you have an opportunity to improve the Giants, because, guys, Eldridge right now is all just a name. We're going to have to trade somebody else. But if we're going to improve the team, sometimes you have to give up good quality to get great quality, So it all depends. Mm-hmm. If there's an opportunity where one of our young pitchers that couldn't make it, that we thought was going to be in our rotation last year, and Eldridge, and we can package it where we can get somebody, you have to think about it.
You got somebody good. The Jeff Kent trade.
Yeah. So, most likely, I think he's probably 99% he's going to be here, but you never say never on a guy that's unproven. I mean, Eric, you brought up a great point. The last 10 years, our farm system and guys coming up have been a disaster. We've had guys, oh my God, you know who we picked? I mean, really, to tell you the truth, since Buster, of all our top picks, none of them really have panned out.
Eldridge is made for Vitello. He's made for him. He's a kid. He's like a college kid. Vitello did great with college kids. Let's see what he can do with this kid.
Yeah, here's a good question. Did Tony Vitello try to recruit Bryce Eldridge? Because he was in the University of Tennessee. It'd be interesting to see what his take would have been on what Bryce Eldridge, because at that time, remember, he was a pitcher and a hitter, and I don't know where.
What are you going to get for him? The guy, he's got 6 walks and 47.
You know what it is? It's the whole process.
Why give him you're not getting schoolball for Bryce Eldridge. It's not happening.
It's the whole shine of the prospect. That's all it is, right, Marty? He is the top prospect. He's number 12 on the top 100. And to an extent, that has some value for teams that want to get that young guy. But yeah, we have no idea. And here's another thing. Well, I was just looking at Twitter. Ken Rosenthal, I guess the Pirates offered Kyle Schwarber 4-year deal, about $100 million, something like that.
Yeah,
so.
well, tell him to add another $150 million, and then he'll talk to him.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, come on.
The Pirates have to do this because baseball's getting sued because these teams, don't take the revenue sharing money and put it into the team. So they're trying to show it's so silly. Now they're trying to. We're going to spend money. Okay, go ahead. Let's see you do it.
Yep.
So all right, that's it. I'm done.
All right, Marty. Hey, thanks for hanging out for a little while. I appreciate it.
Hey, Marty, what's the dog's name there?
KO. KO's.
KO.
KO.
Marty,
KO.
Marty, I have a question before you leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
On your Marty, Lurie, and Friends, is Jeff Kent a good enough friend to be on your show with you?
I don't. It's probably not, to tell you the truth, unless I was with him. But I don't have the number to call him or anything like that. So I would say no, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But if I ever, when I see him, I talk to him, and I've done interviews with him. He's been on the pregame show with me a lot. Like I say, Cal asked me to MC a banquet where they honored him.
Yeah.
And that's where I got to know him.
And like, Lou had said, maybe Ken will be more visible in San Francisco. Most of those icons are not with us anymore. I think the Giants are going to push for him to be around.
Oh, yeah. Look, he's a Hall of Famer. Get him a statue.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what I said. Yep.
Hey.
Stacking time.
It
wouldn't be a
You're
show.
right, Eric.
It wouldn't be a show with Marty Laurie unless we had a visit from our old pal Robbie Dizzle, huh? He says,
Yeah,
he
Robbie
hopes to see
Dizzle.
you in January.
Good old
Yeah.
Robbie Dizzle.
Everybody knows Rob. Marty, everywhere I go, they're like, do you know
That's
Robert
fun.
DeVille? I'm like, yeah.
I'm going to Cooperstown this summer. The movie, the Marty Laurie story is we're going to have a weekend in Cooperstown. So this will be good too.
That's
This is
awesome.
fun. You guys, I love being on with you guys.
Hey, Marty,
It's good
if you get an interview with Jeff and you do it at Oracle and you need some seats, I'll always give up my seats
Hey,
for you and,
trust
and
me,
Jeff.
he will be at Oracle this year. We'll get him on the show.
Great.
That will happen. But I love being on with you guys. And Gary, you do a great
Marty,
job.
have a great
So
Christmas.
Marty.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
Marty.
you, buddy.
Happy holidays, buddy.
anytime. All right.
Take care,
be well.
Marty.
All
Bye,
right.
Marty.
Take care.
All right, that was the great Marty Lurie, man. That was awesome. He was able
The
to spend some
great.
time with us.
The great.
The
You
great
you
one.
use that term.
Everybody's the great, right?
The great Chardol.
No.
You don't use that term
Well,
loosely,
with the
Eric.
great Chardol,
The
that's
great.
that's for Chardol. That's all in
The
fun. and games.
legendary Marty Laurie.
Legendary,
It's a treat
even
to have
better.
him on the show too. He adds so much to the show. Great to have him on the round table.
Man,
I
tell
got
you-
something. I got something for all three of you.
Let's go.
Glenn, you were talking about Lincecum,
Hmm.
and I just found it fascinating that when he was Lincecum, is when he did not throw his no hitters. He was his two no hitters were he was almost
Yeah, they weren't the
point
best.
of being done.
Yeah.
And as far as Lou goes, Lou, you mentioned Scott Rowland. I would have taken Matt Williams over him in a heartbeat for the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And Eric, I got to sit here in New York listening to Don Mattingly's name for the next 2 weeks. And I am just going to be smiling.
Yeah.
I bet the New York media is going to go
Ah.
absolute bonkers. I bet you Nick Turturro. I'm sure he's got a tweet out there because he was really pushing for his
A lace,
his goal.
a curse latent.
Yeah.
Lace.
Oh my God!
Hey, and Gary, if you do make it to the Bay Area for a game, let us know. Because obviously, this show is done every post-game show, but we'd love for you to be our guest out at the ball
That
game.
would be awesome.
I have
That'd
some
be
seats,
one-
right front
before
row
you guys
by,
met me
by the
in
dugout. So,
2024, the Gotham Club had me out there. I wrote a book about following the Giants from New York.
okay.
So I went out there, and they took great care of me. And then 3 weeks later, Willie Mays passed away, and they asked me to come for the celebration of life. So the Giant organization has been fabulous to me, and I love going out there, and I hope to return.
You were
Hey,
there that
guys.
afternoon, were you?
Yes,
you
I
there?
was. It was
Yeah, he was there.
amazing.
Oh, I wish I hadn't met you, but that was a memorable day in Giants history for me being over there. I live just a block from the ball, or 2 blocks from the ballpark. So if there's something going on around the ballpark, I'm there, and that was one that I'm certainly glad.
You went in through the left field gate, and you had to sign in, and they said, you want to write something to Willie Mays, even though he passed. So I went in, and I was like, what am I going to write? And then it was like, I'm going to write something about how much he meant to me and my father. My father died in 2003. And then I signed it, my name and my father's name, whose also name is Lou, but he spells it different from our Lou here. So father was a great influence on my life, making me love the Giants. I wanted to be like him. So he loved them in New York, but when they moved, he still loved them because of one guy, Willie Mays.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was quite a
And
turnout too.
and for those
Legendary
who don't know-
people. Legendary people were there. And,
For those who
and
don't know, check out Gary Mintz, the New York Giants Preservation Society on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's almost weekly interviews. I know in the holidays it's a little bit different, but fantastic channel, guys. If you want to get the history on Giant, both San Francisco and New York, wow, absolutely incredible. The guests that you're able to get, top notch. A lot of authors. You got the president of Sabre was on there the other night, right? And matter of fact, I think he was on there a couple of weeks ago too, talking about a book that he just recently wrote.
Yeah,
I think it was on McGraw, right? And his
about
real
his
estate
land deal in Florida. Yes.
his real estate in Florida. So it was
These guys who
absolutely
are with
incredible.
me, I'm younger Most of these guys are, 75 to 85. They're great zooming, except for most of them don't know how to mute. Other than that, it's a good
It was
You're laying down the law, man. That was
a rough start. Rough. He had to apologize about 2 minutes in because he went off the rails on the. This is. And when I tuned in for that show, I thought, he's going to have a rough. How long is this going to last? But it was a great interview.
Well,
the other
Glenn,
night.
I'm a retired New York City school teacher. So
You're used to that.
I'm used to.
Gary, anybody who's in our chat, we pushed them toward the interview the other day. I can't tell you enough. I'll do it for the last time. How much I enjoyed you having Steve Summers on there. People might go, I want to talk baseball. And you probably heard the other day the clip we aired from that broadcast. Steve, I mean, when it comes to the legends of the Bay Area, he saw the first game at Candlestick. He was there for monumental games and the storytelling. Anybody who has a chance to, because of the Giant, his background, he's from San Francisco, son of a butcher, had I wouldn't call it the most rosy upbringing. He said he wanted to be a broadcaster, and he wanted to be a broadcaster in New York City.
He made it.
And he did it.
And he did it.
So anybody who gets a chance to check it out, do that. Do me a favor, check out Gary's channel and watch that interview. Meant a lot to me anyway.
Good stuff. All right, let's get out of here. Lou, final thoughts. What you got, man?
This is the start of a very important week for the Giants. It started off awesome. Let's make sure we stay at this level, because I don't want to talk next Monday where we've done absolutely nothing.
I know.
It's year 2 of Buster. I just hope we're all not getting on the juice. I want to see this team improve.
We all do.
I want to see us be competitive, and I don't always want to see, as Marty said, we'll give Tony a chance. Well, we did that last year with Buster. I don't think a new manager and having 4 new coaches and 785 guys as special advisors are going to make this team better unless we have good players.
Lou,
So,
don't say getting on the juice on this show today of all days. That's not the appropriate term. And is anybody here in the channel or in the chat or among the guests? I think Lou goes undercover as Lou Marsden all year, Eric. With we're about 3 weeks out from Christmas. Santa is working on his little beard there, Eric.
Yeah, nice. There you go.
I think he's Santa undercover. And speaking of Santa, this Friday, I believe it is, we kick off our 12 days of freaking Christmas.
This is going to be something, man. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Are we going to top last year? We had Chardall singing last year.
Oh my God! We haven't seen Chardall in a while. I don't know. He's gone MIA. Maybe because we
ban him again. He's been, he was on the naughty list. So,
Gary, final thoughts. What you got, man?
First of all, I want to thank you 3. Honor to be here tonight. Really.
Appreciate you.
Very nice.
Gary, you don't set your sights very high, but we appreciate that.
I've been speaking to Glenn. I think by Friday, if nothing's done by this coming Friday, I'm going to be pretty upset.
Yeah.
Because,
Lou, you gave it
has to be done, and it has to be player-wise.
Yes.
And lastly, what a day to honor Jeff Kent. I mean, I am so looking forward to going to Cooperstown now because I am going.
Enjoy.
There you go. You're going to have a few people out there to see. Marty's going to be. You're going to have to watch his movie. His movie is fantastic.
Hopefully, it's the same week that when Marty's filmed. Maybe it'll be that same week. I don't know.
Where can we find that, Eric? Where can we find that? Is that up available on any?
It's not
Netflix
out yet.
You got to see it.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it was awesome.
Hey, Gary, how big is this apartment? Because obviously, if Buster goes, maybe we might have to share a room with you. So just don't forget about us.
I am staying 22 miles out of Cooperstown in a Super 8 in Oneonta, New York.
There you go.
There you go.
Rosemont, we're going to do it. Yes, we're going to do a show Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, exactly. And we go through the 12
unless there's breaking news, I
days of
assume,
Christmas means we got to actually work. So
correct. If there's breaking news, look, we're going to have a show every night on Monday through Wednesday. But if anything breaks in the middle of the day, of course, we'll be here and we'll talk all about it. And yeah, that's what we do here. We talk. We talk a lot. All right, let's get the heck out of here. Guys, thanks for joining
Gary.
for a little while.
Thank you. Great meeting you.
Oh,
as well.
I tell you what, again, thanks to the guests. Gary, appreciate it. Marty, he was awesome to be able to come on for a little bit. Again, talking about Jeff Kent, the newest member to be elected into the Hall of Fame. You'll see him this Sunday. Looks like he will be donning the San Francisco Giants cap. So that's going to be awesome.
Good to
Looking
see
forward
Lou
that.
back with us, too.
Lou,
Lou,
Absolutely.
get a shave, get ready. We'll have a busy week.
And we will be back tomorrow night, guys. We'll do it all over again.
Can't
Let's
wait.
get out of
Be
here.
well.
Woo!
Hey, guys.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.